Sounds good.
Alrighty. Usually there's a little bit of lag between when we start it here and when it actually starts showing up on YouTube.
Right.
There we go.
Oh, it works. Nice.
Okay, so we are now officially live. Let's just get a second here to make sure we're not doing something wrong.
Cool.
Okay, we got the chat up. We got everything going.
Cool.
Welcome, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, people of the chat.
Okay, so, yeah, this is, the, Salokin mini rolling speedy thingamajig. Yeah, welcome or something.
Okay, all right. Okay. I think we're getting a handle of this. So I'm Aiden. I'm the Examine Life of Gaming guy. I'm here with some of my favorite YouTube people. All retro gamers do the same kind of thing that I do. We have got Speedy, who does a lot of great retro PC game stuff. Does a lot of like mech focused stuff, which is cool. We've got Salokin, who does a big variety of retro games, some console stuff as well.
Keeps posting Undertale shit in my Discords.
Yeah, he's like some kind of furry or something. I'm not sure what it is. Well, that went to shit real fast. Anyways, we also have Minnie. He's the big man on campus. He's the high sub guy. He is mostly a top 5 listicle guy, but we accept him because he made a really good Deadly Dozen review one time.
I make really lowbrow content, so don't bother checking me out. It's cool.
He's the Michael Bay of YouTube. All right, so we have a couple of questions prepared. We can ask some of the questions that we have set up, or we can just start answering chat questions.
Well, let's answer some of our questions because the chat gave a question that segues really well. What will you guys discuss? So what's the question?
Oh, shit. All right, well, let me go to the list of questions. The first thing that I picked up, I don't know if you guys want to talk about this, is a style or genre of game that you will not ever like, will not ever play.
Generic JRPG, like stuff like Final Fantasy.
That would probably be my answer as well. I mean, it's not the only answer. I don't think I'd ever play bullet hell games or any of those. I'm not good at shmups. I don't have the patience for shmups.
I'll probably go for fighting games. Don't fucking kill me, man. Don't crucify me. It's just I can't stand them, man. Except for the weeb shit, and that's okay. That's okay.
Oh man,
you and I are the same.
Alienating our entire weeaboo audience right off the bat.
Except Fate Unlimited Codes, which I play.
Yeah, I don't know. I can understand your fighting games thing. I feel like there's so much overlap between all the different fighting games that there's very few you could get into at any given time. I'm like a huge fan of Fighter's Destiny on the N64, which I think would probably be too simple for a lot of fighting game fans. But most of them, not a big fan of at all. And we actually got Alex Carby asks, would you ever play Life is Strange? No. Not ever.
I finished Life is Strange.
Oh, get out.
Here.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all right. I don't know.
Kurogachi asks, what are our thoughts about Cuphead? It looks really hard.
That tutorial, man. I don't know how you get over that second.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big fan of Serious Sam, because I don't like games that are hard. Yeah, jump buttons. I can't figure that shit out. Like, I only like Zelda because it didn't have a jump button. It was automatic. It was handled for you. It's perfect for me. I have a very low IQ.
I think Cuphead's really, really beautiful. Platformers, don't excite me at all, but I like the visuals. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here now.
Indie games. Evil Apple asks, is this like a live podcast? Yeah, pretty much. If it was a real podcast, I'd probably read you like off of a script at the beginning, and then we'd have, a topic. But we don't because it isn't. What do you guys think about the recent Half-Life Caged? I don't know what that is.
I've been listening to him play and talk about it recently. It's a mod for Half-Life that I think the best way I can describe it, it's a full single-player mod for Half-Life that has a synthwave soundtrack, and it's free.
Wow.
And you can use a plunger as a weapon, I guess. I just looked at the Steam page, and that kind of sold me on it.
Is that the one that's set in a prison? And
I think
by,
it
like,
is.
One of the lead designers? Yeah, I've heard about it.
Oh, cool. So it has a retro feel to it. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Looks
I have
like
to start taking notes. I feel like I'm going to learn, or not going to learn. I'm going to get sort of introduced to a lot of things that I got to check out later.
And 2 weeks
shit,
later,
that's
why
awesome.
Half-Life Cage is a bad mod for Half-Life.
Is one of us sitting on Google all this time?
Wait.
This is non-canon bullshit. I don't accept it in the continuity.
I am downloading it. I am downloading it right now. That looks awesome.
Your horrible Australian connection is going to tank out in the middle of this. You're going to start sounding like a robot.
Worth it.
And the stream will be better than Battleborn.
Ooh.
But like, remember, guys, what was the game? Cliff Blesky made.
Oh, Lawbreakers, where it went down to
Yeah,
$2
$1
billion
billion franchise, guys. $1 billion franchise. We did it, guys. Hey, if I splurge out on Twitter, I can get even more followers. Yeah.
What went wrong there? I didn't even know it was out until it was out. Like I heard about it quite a long time ago.
The market's just not
Like,
big
why
enough for
didn't
all that stuff. Lawbreakers,
Yeah,
Battleborn, Team Fortresses. I don't know. The game still exists, but it can't be making that much money. I don't know. Maybe people
Team
are buying enough
Fortress is
hats to
dying.
keep the lights on at Valve. But yeah, fuck that whole genre. I don't care about. Or what is it, Monday Night Combat? That was another one. That was an early TF2 ripoff.
What? Oh shit!
Yeah.
They got music from Laserhawk. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Half-Life Cage. That looks fucking amazing. I am fucking gonna play this. I am buying everything here.
All right, we're shutting down the stream, guys. We're all gonna go play Half-Life Cage.
Thanks for
See you in a couple
tuning
weeks.
in.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
sorry,
up,
man.
First
That looks
question
amazing.
derailed us.
I don't. That was a bad mistake, y'all made to me. Should have mentioned
Yeah.
Synthwave from Half-Life.
If you're gonna mention a game, make sure it's a bad game, so we don't all run off and play it right now.
Okay, so I'm trying to do a review of Arx Fatalis. So
Oh
far,
boy.
it's borderline unplayable, but also
Yeah.
it's borderline something great. It's almost amazing. Almost.
That's kind of their MO,
Right.
isn't it? Arcane Studios is like, wow, this is amazing for 5 minutes, and you're like, ooh, doesn't work though. I still haven't played the new Prey. I bought it and installed it, never played it. So
I really like
have
the
to
new
do that.
Prey, to be honest. It's just I wish Bethesda didn't screw it up entirely, because I think Arcane may actually go under sometime, or at least I feel like
I
they may
hope
have
so.
gotten cut funding because Prey sold like shit because Bethesda didn't market it.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, from everything that I've seen, it doesn't look like a fully polished, like fully complete. I'm not
it wasn't fully polished.
I shouldn't say
Right.
polished because I don't care about polish, but it doesn't look done. It doesn't look realized. It doesn't look like they had enough ideas to fill it out.
It looks like
wonderful.
another 6 months could have been put on it.
Yeah.
I think.
It looks like basically every Arcane Studio game ever made. Right.
Quick question: when can I suplex dismantles for saying that Quake 4 is equally as good as Prey? Because Quake 4 was fucking garbage last time I played it. Well, and in the context of being,
well, that's
in the
the Quake
context
4
of
discussion
being-
happening.
in the context of Quake 4 being a Quake game, I think it's garbage. In the context of being a video game, it's average.
I'm glad we set the record on that 10-year-old game.
Yeah. Well, Quake 4, no, I think Quake 4 is interesting because I have this kind of dim view of a lot of Raven Software games that they're competent in a lot of ways, and people love them for reasons I don't get. And I think Quake is one of the only. I'm sure that's Raven Software. I'd have to look it up to actually.
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't
was.
talking out of my
Quake
ass,
4
but
was
yeah.
Raven, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
So that's like one of the only Raven games that people weren't tricked into liking. That's
Oh, come on, Raven
my
Software-
horrible opinion.
Raven
They made
Software, I really like their stuff.
Oh no, they made Singularity. They made that Soldier of Fortune.
They made
Excellent.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, guys. Who played that?
Yes.
That game was good. All right, that game
How good
pretty
was it? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. But like I tried to play Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I remember playing it on the Xbox and PC and playing some enemy territory. And I'm replaying it, getting captured because people were talking about how great it was. There was the top 100 PC games episode that I did, and I don't like it. I don't like
Return
it.
is weird.
There's no
It's
gameplay in
really
that
fucking
game.
weird.
Yeah,
Right.
it's missing all the gameplay. Like it's a cool setting, cool ideas, and there's just no gameplay. It's kind of a shame.
I think when talking about Raven stuff, I should clarify that the only Raven games I have extensively played are Soldier of Fortune 1, Heretic, and the whole Hexen series. And I love Hexen.
Wait.
Heretic
Execution.
Heretic's half good, half garbage, because the first 2 episodes are great. Episode 3 kind of starts off, Episode 4 and 5 are really bad most of the time.
So they were
I'd
behind...
have to say when it comes...
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. No, go on.
They were behind Jedi Knight series, right?
Oh yeah, Jedi Knight was great. I love.
I reckon Jedi Knight 2 and 3 are their best games.
Yes, I can agree with that. They're really well polished shooters.
I think Jedi Academy and Hexen 2 were my favorite games Raven's done.
Now, I haven't asked Roland this. Did you actually get around to playing Blood Omen?
No, I did not. I put too much stuff on my to-do list, like this Half-Life Caged. So, yeah, I don't play anything. There's a billion of them, and all I ever do is replay old games for videos.
But what about playing through Marathon 2? To be completely frank with you, Roland, it's hard to play because there's no soundtrack.
Yeah, I think that was a big mistake. And maybe that was a cool idea in 1995, like, oh, it's atmospheric sound, you know, it sounds like an alien planet, there's no music. But yeah, not a good idea. I think they should have done both.
I think honestly Bungie should have gotten a professional musician or game musician to do music for Marathon 2, because looking back at the original Marathon soundtrack from a musical standpoint, it is ridiculously simple. Like entire measures and bars in the soundtrack are literally just chords, and then there's just simple melodies occasionally. But it's good.
I'd say, well, that's it was composed by Alexander Seropian, who's not really a musician. He's probably a guy who was like, well, I have some software on my computer, and they're like, cool, you do it. And he was like, all right.
When I'm doing piano practice and writing melodies for a game my friend wants me to work on, I keep like accidentally recreating stuff from Marathon because it's stupidly simple. It's just like 2 notes.
It's earworm stuff. It's the pop music of video game soundtracks. Actually, same with Zelda. Like, I always used to impress people in fucking grade school because I could play all the music from Ocarina of Time on the piano, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, that's awesome!" And I'd be like, "They're all in D minor. Literally everything is just an arpeggio in D minor. It's easy as shit." And they'd be like, "What?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, but that guy's such a great composer." I'm like, "Maybe, but he's also a fucking hack. All he does is same fucking." One chord, not even a chord progression, just one chord. He's just noodling around inside of one chord.
What's amazing though is the amount. What's amazing though?
Go ahead.
Go on. Okay. Marathon soundtrack was made in FL Studio. This is actually a weird point to get to because Marathon was made on the old Mac, and it used QuickTime for weird MIDI formats where every version of QuickTime, every fucking subsequent version changed the sound font. So Marathon always sounds right on like 2 versions of QuickTime.
Yeah, I did find a download. Maybe you can still find it, and I still have it. Somebody went back on a real Mac and a real period correct Mac, and they actually did a re-recording of it with what would have been the instruments that people had installed in '94.
I think that's what Aleph 1 has included for the longest time, is an actual period correct hardware recording of.
When I first got into Aleph 1, it was a bad recording.
Oh,
it still sounded alright, but it sounded pretty grainy and pretty kind of muffled.
I just realized, Minnie, have you actually played Marathon?
Nah, I'm sitting here silently.
It's not a requirement. It's pretty magnificent stuff.
The interesting thing about Marathon, though, the soundtrack, if you listen to it, if it was released today, the lawsuits would be up the wazoo, man. They rip off at least 3. What's it? One of the songs, hold on, is basically a rip-off of. It's borderline, like some of the melodies are borderline copyright stuff.
Well, you can say the same thing about Doom, can't you?
Yeah, well, a lot worse with Doom, because Doom was actually just MIDI tracks of Metallica songs. Marathon, I'm sure I'd have to go and compare it. It'd be kind of cool, a cool project for you to do, not for me. I got enough to work on. But yeah, you should compare Marathon music to the obvious inspirations.
Should I play Marathon?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sure.
It's so good.
Okay, sure. Should I start at 1 and just go through them?
Go for 1 and then
Play on an easy difficulty. Anybody who gets all fucking erect at the thought of Total Carnage difficulties just being a moron.
Just you, man. Just you.
Just a waste of time. It's just like all you have to do well, not all you have to do. It's still hard, but the whole conceit of the super high difficulties is that you basically don't have enough ammo to kill anything. So you're just sort of dodging back and forth, trying to use the momentum punch, which is something that they did. If you're moving forward, when you punch, you do more damage.
Momentum punch is still the coolest thing.
back and forth. Well, I don't know. Halo's like falling punch is pretty fucking cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, so marathon on hard difficulties is just a stupid meme.
I never thought I'd hear you describe something as a meme.
A few general questions though. A few general questions though is based on I want to ask each of you guys. What would be in your opinions, like each of yours, an underrated or kind of obscure kind of game you'd recommend? So like, when you go first.
Can I say Deadly Dozen?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think Deadly Dozen is underrated. It's the jankiest piece of shit ever. But I really like how it's structured. I really like the mission design and have a review of it. You should go check it out. And I just
the best
recently
video you've done, but that's my bias.
I somewhat agree. And I heard that Aiden played it, but I didn't question him about it, and I want to hear his opinion on it.
Well, I haven't played. I got both of them, Deadly Dozen and Pacific Dozen.
Mm-hmm. I'm playing that at the moment.
Call it for short. Pacific Dozen. Yeah, and I played the first one quite a bit, and yeah, it's hard. It's hard to wrap your head around how you have to compensate for the game's weird shit.
It's very much a case of it's not intuitive.
It is like an early conflict or early SOCOM in a lot of ways, or early Ghost Recon or something. You know, it's like put together your squad, or kind of like maybe the first version of a 3D Commandos. Like I'm playing it, and I'm not expecting that I have to move really slowly. Like enemies don't see you based on what you're expecting from like Splinter Cell. You know, if you play Splinter Cell or Modern Stealth game, you're like, oh, it's all about line of sight and everything. In that game, it just doesn't seem to be. It just seems to be like all about exploiting weird AI weaknesses because it's
and I enjoyed that. So
yeah, that's fair.
I think the most surprising part of that game for me is how much each character's individual stats actually matter. Like, I don't know, a medic with 10 so it's 0 to 100 scale on each of their stats, and a medic that's 10 will only heal 10%, and a medic with 100 will heal 100% with one med pack. And that's the case for every single stat. So like each character is vastly different, but they never explain it. So it's kind of fucked, but I like it.
Yeah, and I mean that's that kind of game where you have that squad. I mean, I like any kind of game where you have a squad of people that are unique, except for Republic Commando. That game is very bad.
You want to die?
Boy.
Have you played it recently? Right? Have you played it recently? Like at the time, you were like, "Oh shit, it's a really pretty, exciting Star Wars game," and everybody wanted to play as a clone trooper. I think in retrospect, that game it's a very simple, and none of the mechanics of the squad controls really do anything. I think like instead of pressing A to get through the door, you press A to have another guy get you through the door. Yes. Ultimately, it all works out the same.
I think before we get into a verbal fistfight, we should continue with this question.
So would be Speedies. So Speedies, what would be your kind of underrated, obscure game?
Underrated game. I instinctively want to say Sabotage Break the Rules, but at the same time, I feel like I should just go run to my room real quick and look at my PC game shelf and
go right ahead, man.
Yeah, let me go look at my PC game shelf.
So we are so I'm making Suboxic really mad. I guess he likes Republic Commando, so I'm not gonna have to make a video about why Republic Commando sucks.
It's like you have like you're working on your Half-Life video, and some arsehole comments on you. Nah, man, Serious Sam 2 shit. 30-minute video later. Anyway,
that's how the Half-Life 2 thing came. I had like this sort of like rant about Half-Life 2 that I would always bust out with when people would tell me how great it was. And a friend of mine was like, "Hey man, you just got to tell me why it's so bad." And then I spent probably like a solid week rebutting what he said was good about it.
Urban Assault would be the game I would say I think a lot more people should check out, because Urban Assault is one of the only two like older FPS RTS games I know about, aside from Battlezone, and it plays way different from Battlezone 98. It's
first person
real-time strategy.
That actually looks really baller. It looks a little bit like Breed.
I remember Urban Assault being a really, really good game when I first played it, and then I come back to it and it's like, oh, this is really cool. I just wish they used more than gray as its color scheme. But it's a really solid game in terms of gameplay.
It looks really cool. It looks a little bit like Warhawk, with the whole first-person view.
Warhawk.
Well, I think probably one of the coolest things about Urban Assault is aside from having map control and ordering units around, you can actually go and take control of any units you want to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like Savage or.
Okay,
I
I'm
remember if
buying
Command
this
and Conquer Renegade had that or not.
All right, I'm
Did
buying
Renegade?
it.
I don't remember.
Urban Assault. Awesome.
So Salokin, what would be your underrated game where people should check out?
It'd either be a tie between Soldiers of Anarchy or the
I
original.
love your
Viet
Soldiers of
Cong.
Anarchy review.
Oh, thank you. But
What
the
was that
Soldiers of
second one
Anarchy,
again?
Soldiers of Anarchy or Viet Cong from 2003. Viet
That's
Cong.
pretty fair.
Soldiers of Anarchy is great because it's like this. It's like this clunky, barely functioning pile of trash, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun. The dialogue is so terribly delivered. It's just wonderful. The plot is just a rip off of Fallout 2, but I just fucking love it. But also with Viet Cong, it has just really cool. It's just really fun because I live in a bushland nearby. I actually live around the bush and I got my pig outside, and basically, walking through the forest, it's kind of like that when Viet Cong. So it's like you're walking through the forest, you're listening to like some VC guys, and you guys call out use racial slurs like gook and chink, and it's great.
Is that really a positive?
It's a huge positive because it's like it reminds you that fuck yeah, people were racist back then. I love it.
People not racist now.
Nah. Yeah,
that's not the discussion we were planning to have today. Okay.
Yeah, this is not a political chat.
Sure. Right.
We've established that. Like, genuinely, we established that.
But look, we get through. All right. So the main gist is that we sit back, we relax, what makes the game just really fun is it just feels really impactful when you see your entire when you see your whole squad get taken down by some Viet Cong guys, and you go, "Fuck, I'm screwed now." It's really atmospheric, and it's just like an expansive version of Black Ops. Just the small details, like the music, the guns have really punchy mechanical sound. It was the first game to use iron sights. Just small things that really help it and really make it believable. But Soldiers of Anarchy, man, that's a game where you can hijack a tank and you get a bunch of random babushka women to pilot your helicopter, and it's just so much fun.
That game is kind of like the RTS equivalent of the Resistance campaign of Op Flash.
Yes. Yes. Now, have any of you? I know Roland has, but have either Speedy or Mini? Have you played Operation Flashpoint?
I have not yet.
Do you mean the one that's renamed as Arma 1?
Yeah. Arma Cold War Assault.
Yeah.
That's
a fantastic
Arma
game.
1 is the forgotten game. Arma 1 is buried.
You have to play Operation Flashpoint. It's so much fun.
I thought Cold War Assault was like a terrible version of Flashpoint. I didn't realize it was Flashpoint.
Yeah,
it is Flashpoint.
Yeah. No, dude, it's the because the main campaign is
yeah.
It's so
I
it's a
remember
great
Flashpoint
soundtrack.
now.
Just go get it. It has a great soundtrack. But what's more is that you have this campaign where it's like it's fucking apocalyptic. Like your whole squad gets wiped out. Everyone gets killed in the squad, and then you have to run back home.
I don't remember.
Awesome.
I remember watching some review, and I was like, "Whoa, this looks cool."
Possibly.
Yeah, I played it for the first time a couple of years ago, and it holds up surprisingly well. Like, it's really engaging for a simulator type. It's exciting. I like it. It's a good game.
Then also you play the Resistance expansion pack where you just run around and kill civilians. It's fucking awesome.
That's not what you're supposed to do.
That's what I did, and it was fun. Anyway,
all right. Well, the chat is pretty accurately recreating your political beliefs right now.
Oh hell yeah!
I fucking knew Maverick was going to take that out of context.
with a little bit of help from Speedy.
Okay, well,
what's the deal with the Vietnam games being mostly shit?
It was a bad idea that everybody had at the same time. In
it was a backlash.
Maybe it was inspired by Viet Cong. I think maybe it was inspired by the movie We Were Soldiers. Everybody was like, "Hey, we know what we should do? Vietnam games. The time is now." And I don't think technology was really there yet. But conflict in Vietnam was pretty good.
It was off the back of World War II, right?
Yeah,
because
that's people were getting pretty burned out on Call of Duty and Medal of Honor.
It was actually really interesting because I've played most Vietnam games, and I can quintessentially say I can easily say that Viet Cong, the original one, is the best one. Viet Cong 2 is fucking garbage. It could have been great, but it's fucking trash. All the rest is pretty much bad. It's just like it's just the small thing. It's the small things. Like I said, I know I've already repeated myself, but just the small things like the racism. Like you're being like how everyone's kind of racist.
You won't get off racist.
We're just gonna keep quoting you out of context for this.
Well, I mean, look, if y'all want to know, look, I'm not racist. I just want to create an ethno state, maybe kill a few million minorities.
Anyways,
make
should we answer some chat questions?
Okay.
If you could go back in time and kick a game developer or CEO in the nuts for killing one of your favorite games, who would it be and why? Asked Maverick. I would kick Bethesda CEO in the nuts for destroying Prey 2 and every other game they ever worked on.
Yeah, didn't it?
I guess that ties into the Combine's question about were you ever looking forward to the canceled Prey 2? I was until Bethesda ruined it, and I want to kick Bethesda dudes in the nuts.
That game looks amazing, and
didn't it?
It's all politics too, and like. It's not like StarCraft Ghost. Like StarCraft Ghost is probably the one that I wanted to play more than anything, and in that I can almost understand why they canceled it. If what they said was true, people were hyping it way more, and the game was not shaping up to be that good. Okay, fine, fuck it, whatever.
Humans had said that wasn't true at all.
Exactly. Prey 2 looked like it was going to be great, and Bethesda didn't cancel it because they were like, the hype's too much. This game's gonna suck.
They canceled because they wanted the IP.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, we're just gonna take whatever game Arcane's working on, System Shock 3.9, whatever the fuck they were going to call it. And they were like, let's just call this Prey. Yeah, it was a shame. That should not have happened.
The original, I'm trying to find Urban Assault. It's like, it doesn't exist. It's like a minor Wikipedia page. Oh man, I'll find it eventually.
Yeah, there's downloads out there, and if you're really persistent, you can probably copy on eBay. Though I'm kidding you, I've seen like 2 beta copies pop up in the time I've been looking for the game. It's stupid hard to find.
So Vrieg, I still don't know how to pronounce that. Vrieg Wafa says he would blow up Konami and castrate Hideo Kojima for killing Metal Gear.
Yep.
And
wait.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Did anybody kill Metal Gear? It was Hideo Kojima.
I didn't feel like that's what happened.
You sure?
Let's see what else says. Let's
Metal Gear Solid 4.
I like MGS4.
Metal Gear Solid was never really good though.
It
had good mechanics. It had good mechanics, but it didn't. Wasn't necessarily a good game.
Nah, I'm not on board. Metal Gear Solid I like.
With 4 or 5? Which one are you not on board with?
5 I haven't played because Disney's just made all.
I'm just trying to be a contrarian. Sorry.
Right. Salokin doesn't like those games because they're not racist enough.
2 might be my favorite game.
They are. They actually
are racist enough. Oh, he likes those games because they're racist.
Ooh, gotcha.
You get to target like literally. It's great though. It's a good game. I recommend it. It's true though. Like almost all the black characters get killed in the game, and the only ones left standing are basically Mentions.
Man, you gotta move on. This is weird.
What is their overall opinions of early access games? Asks Suboxic. Are you marred by the failures or the gems amongst it? Early access is mostly shit.
Yeah, I've talked about this a lot, so I'll let you guys handle this one.
Ziggurat was like the only early access game I legitimately enjoyed. Everything else has been basically garbage.
PUBG, mate. PUBG's awesome.
Yeah, PUBG is early access. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But by the time PUBG comes out, nobody's going to be playing it.
Yeah.
So when it's done and at its best, no one's going to be playing it. You're going to join the match. There's going to be 20 people standing around the fucking spawn area. Be like, is this match ever going to start? Like, nope. You need
everyone goes to military base.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem I see with early access is that at least for people with no self-control like me, you burn yourself out on a unfinished kind of crappy version of the game without any real content, and then by the time the content comes out, you're sick of the mechanics.
Yep.
I think Steam's handled it really poorly.
The early access game that I actually would recommend is Rodina. It's kind of like a space sim. It's basically like a good version of No Man's Sky. It's made by one dude, but he wants to create like Daggerfall in space. And from what I played of it, it's pretty phenomenal stuff. Go there, check it out. It'll knock your socks off. Balls off. I don't know.
Evil Apple asks, ever heard of the Turrican games for Rainbow Arts / Factor 5?
Yeah,
I think I played them. Oh, nice.
Turrican? What?
Turrican?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I haven't played them because I'm not a weeaboo.
They're fucking from Europe.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Not a Werewolf or
sex.
Euroboo, whatever.
I have a.
Weren't they on? Oh wait, weren't they on the like TurboGrafx or something?
They were on it was Amiga mostly. There's
Jesus.
a DOS port of Turrican too, but I have a story to tell of that. I have been trying to get that up and running for a year now, and it has never once worked for me. It for some reason the game displays a resolution of like 512 by 334, which made my LCD TV spaz out, and I was like, oh great, I guess I'm never gonna play this. So I finally get a CRT. And the game doesn't work anymore. It just crashes on launch. Even if I use a boot disk, it doesn't work. I have no idea how to make Turrican work. It'll either not detect my sound card, it won't play, it'll run too fast or too slow. It's a mess. Turrican, the DOS port's garbage.
I have to say, it's kind of unfortunate because the soundtrack for Turrican is absolutely
Chris
phenomenal.
Heelsbeck is a fucking amazing composer. He's one of my favorites.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to it right now. It's so good.
Heelsbeck is
every game.
Look, go and download or listen to the soundtrack of Turrican. Have your mind destroyed. Okay, we're gonna have to cut the shit and get to the real meat and potatoes of the discussion. What did y'all think of Pacific Rim?
I need to fully
film?
watch Pacific Rim sometime.
I liked it. I didn't.
It was fine.
Yeah, I had a good time. I thought it was what it was.
Godzilla movie. They were about as good.
That was fun.
Seething. I feel like Salokin is seething right now.
I'm a little bit upset by this revelation.
Pardon me for not caring over much about the opinions of a guy who keeps advocating for a white ethno state in the middle of his podcast.
Nah, man. To be honest, I am just a neoliberal shill. I'm a corporatist shill. Like, I'm all about them banks. And look, but like my controversial opinions expand further than that. Like, Merkel is my waifu. Just saying. Anyway,
let's stay on topic, which is not Germany.
Why is this so hard to stay on
Do
top?
you want to do something that's slightly related to Germany? Have you played Evangelion 64 or like the series?
Again?
Oh Jesus Christ! All right, well that. Wait, hang on. Where is it? I'm trying to locate it. There it is. Don't get any bright ideas.
Okay. When it comes down to it, are you Roland? Are you going to review Boiling Point?
Am I going to review? Oh, Boiling Point. Yeah. No, there's a whole shitload of games that I have to talk about, like Boiling Point, Breed. That's actually when you guys were talking about the underrated game.
I'm not kidding you. When I bought Breed in the Goodwill because it was like $3, I was like, oh sweet, this game looks neat. I can't wait to play it and review it. And then I install it, and none of my computers will run it due to copy protection problems.
Copy protection.
Yeah.
Shit. I have like 3 copies of Breed. One of them is the fixed version. There's a big story about Breed I can tell you when I review that game.
Oh gosh. I think I got a bad
The original version that I had, yeah, it's the sort of game that you install it, you start it, and then you die of old age before the menu screen finishes loading. I mean,
wait.
It takes, that game literally, on the hardware of the time, took about 20 minutes to load.
What? It can load? I stood there for like 5 minutes waiting for it to load. I was like, all right.
Oh yeah, you didn't wait long enough, so that's the whole problem. You just didn't wait. Like, I mean, you get stuck at like this cool splash screen that says "Bad Mothers" and there's like a bunch of guys with this.
The game didn't work.
Yeah, Band of Brothers, and then yeah, you sit there for about 20 minutes while the game tries to fucking load, and I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. I mean, the story is that basically that release candidate of the game was not finished, and so if you get the shitty explosive re-release, then the game is finished.
Gosh. I guess I need to go hunt that out then because I want to play it.
Yeah,
It's
a weird game.
There were a few questions I wanted to ask, and more questions I wanted to ask, and that was kind of like, just each of you, Minnie, how did you get into basically doing game reviews and YouTube?
I kind of like I've always had some sort of outlet where I just wanted to make shit. Like when I was like 10 years old, I was downloading Game Maker and trying to make shit, and it was all fucking terrible. And then
everything made
videos with my brother. Yeah. And
the one about Undertale, Salokin's favorite.
I spent a lot of my childhood just trying to like make tangible things using a computer or using a camera, and eventually as my obsession with video games grew, and as my obsession with video game review channels grew, I just had a crack at it. And this was in 2012. I made a Kane & Lynch review, and I like it, by the way. Sorry, guys.
No, it's a good game.
Yeah.
Except for that stealth mission. That game is actually all right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's by the guys that made Blood Money, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Hitman, yeah. It's a good game.
Yeah, I made reviews for a few years. I got to like 100 subscribers and got real frustrated with it. And nuked them all and made a list, and now I'm here with 11,000. So,
Yeah.
lesson to learn here
Success
is
story.
make top 5 videos.
I mean, I wouldn't be proud of that if I was you, but sure, yeah, why not?
Just to us, Speedy, how did you get into making videos?
Oh, I had an interest in making game reviews for the longest time, and I never figured out how to do it. And then I think I had a bunch of spare time, so I downloaded Windows Movie Maker and got my webcam microphone and made this crappy review of X-Men Ravages of the Apocalypse, and people liked it. And I was like, oh, wow, people like my reviews. I guess I'll keep making them. So, I just kind of kept making reviews from there, and there were points, if you look for my history, where I stopped, which I can't remember is either due to laziness or bad anxiety problems, but it's probably a combination of both. And then I was like, okay, fuck it, let's keep making videos. So basically, I just made them because I needed something to do.
What got you into, like, finding... How did you find about Roland?
I think I found Examine Life of Gaming because it was recommended on like literally one Lazy Game Reviews video, and I was like, "Oh, wow, this guy he reviewed an old game and it's a budget game. Oh, that's my favorite kind of game." So I clicked on it. I was like, "Wow, this guy's pretty good."
Probably like
And the
80% of my
rest was
subs
history.
came from I got a bump from LGR one time for an edutainment game.
Yeah, I know that video.
That's
It was
my
the one
entire
with the flogging
subscriber
in it.
base.
That's all I remember about it.
I actually
You
discovered LGR through you. And a comment on your video. Yeah, I did it in reverse. Isn't that strange?
Oh,
That's pretty
This
well.
is
I
so
think
shit
it's funny
going
that I found you through the Deadly Dozen thing, and then it was after that I was like, shit, that's awesome. I posted something to Facebook like, why are Australian people so good at video games? Or was reviewing video games, and then I was clicking on your channel and I was like, oh shit, DS graphical games or not DS, it was GBA, right? Because I was a big fan of Nightfire on the GBA and fucking Antonio Banderas movie video game.
Xmas Ever.
There we go. Yep, that one. And I was like, oh shit, someone else played these shitty games that looked really cool. That's awesome. That was that whole story.
I will fully admit I've done similar things that Minimme has done with, I'm currently working on a video that's 7 games that made the Adlib and Sound Blaster actually sound impressive because the programmers gave a shit, and some of the games on the list aren't particularly good, including some ones I was going to include that were made in Korea, which have great music, really good composers, but bad gameplay.
Right.
Nuke Korea.
I actually discovered the Examine Life of Gaming. I was writing a Screamer 2 review, and I was like, has anyone else reviewed Screamer 2?
Jeez, that
And I was like,
sucks.
yeah. At the time, I was like, fuck, man, how am I going to top this video? And then I straight up didn't.
I have to say that when it comes to I do admit Roland's first review is kind of very strange. I actually do have a copy of Rally Champions, but why'd you start with that one?
Oh Jesus. Okay, so the whole start of the whole Examine Life of Gaming was when I got back from Japan, because I was in Japan during the 2011 Tohoku quake. So I got sent back early, and then I had like this super long gap from spring term and summer term where I didn't have anything to do, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try doing this. And the idea I had was let's plays only. Instead of playing the game, I just talked about the game, which obviously is a common thing, but at the time I thought I was being pretty clever. And yeah, so the whole idea was like examine life of gaming. I was going to go through sort of my life of gaming, which I think there's also a YouTube channel called My Life of Gaming, My Life in Gaming, something like that. But yeah, so I started with Rally Championship because it's one of the games that I played a shitload of as a kid. Yeah, for no particularly good reason, because the game is pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to it. But yeah, my older sister and I played that game a lot. And, the classic problems that I had with a family computer, did not have like a real sound card. So couldn't even get the sound of the game to work. So all that worked, the game worked, and the CD music would play, but the actual sound of the game would not. So like I had no idea that there was even a guy who yelled in your ear, you know, turn instructions and that kind of thing, or like any sort of sound effect at all. It was just a really fucking awesome, you know, Euro house kind of trance soundtrack, and then this sort of weird racing RPG, like an early racing RPG game. And yeah, that stuck with me. And that, you know, that whole format kind of crapped out. I mean, that's the idea of the budget game.
There was back when Squaresoft actually liked to try things, they made a game that was literally a racing game with RPG elements and level progression. I need to find the name of it, but it was Japan only. I only know of it because I was looking up weird games Squaresoft made when I was working on my internal section review, and I still have another review I need to make of one of their only action RPGs. But Squaresoft made weird stuff in the late 90s.
The late 90s was a time of great experimentation.
That's actually, oddly enough, segues conveniently into my first video, which was, well, not exactly the first, but one of the first videos I did, which was Mischief Makers for the N64. It's such a good game. Have any of you played it?
I haven't played it, and I don't plan to play it because I gave my N64 to someone else.
You have to play Mischief Makers. It's the best game ever made. It's basically... Imagine
sure.
Play the game.
Sure, it is.
It's great. It's great. So basically what you do, you play as a girl, you play as like a robot chick, and you go around, you pick up weird ghost weirdos, and then you shake the fuck out of them, and then you throw them and kill them. And it's one of the few games that I know of where you play as the hero, and you're allowed to murder whole families, including women and children.
That's really important to you. Is you can do it to the women and the children, not just the men.
No, you can. Like you know, literally.
Why is that so important?
It's amazing because what you can do, you can throw a child at a bomb. You see his ghost. You see his ghost ascend to heaven, and it's like this is made by Square, I think. It's fantastic, and you kill tons of people.
Oh my god! I'm really glad that Australia banned guns now. I hate the idea that you might one day be armed.
Oh man, it's such a good game. I can only recommend it. It's the best fucking game ever made. Okay, just saying.
But I gotta be completely honest with you. One of the reasons I like Invisible War so much is because the game lets you kill the children in the Tarsus Academy.
Yeah.
That's great. Like
it's such a novelty when in a video game you can kill kids. That when you can kill kids, it's like, oh shit, that's cool. No, and then you're like, wait, I'm fucked up.
Why is that such a great thing? But it is because the whole point about games is to present you with those interesting scenarios, like in Viet Cong when your whole squad gets wiped out. That's not an optimal scenario, but you still want that kind of thing to at least be able to happen. There's the threat of it happening. So like in that Tarsus Academy scene in Invisible War, you go up against, you know, all the guards and the leader guy, he's a Templar or whatever, right? So that whole level has a really strong chance of turning into a massive firefight, at the end of which you'll be like going around picking up loot and, you know, universal ammo clips, and you're like moving a body, and then you find a kid under there and you're like, oh shit, that's cool. That's like a cool thing. That doesn't make you feel good, but it makes you feel something, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
A game that I found really actually, what's really weird though is that in the 1990s, most RPGs allowed you to kill kids, such as Fallout 1 and 2.
Like he's got this mental catalog of like he's got like a special part of his shelf reserved for the games where you can kill children, and then underneath it is the games where you can kill women. And then
but I mean, like what I kind of like about Fallout 2, it's like if you kill kids, it's like it's a stat, it's a perk.
Yeah,
and
child killer. Like Brave Enough. It's bad.
And it's amazing. Unfortunately, though, it was cut content, but there was going to be a feature in the game where you could kill pregnant women. That was going a bit too far.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
You have the weirdest facts on Recall, man.
Oh, well, it's so jarring when you play.
Top 5 things you didn't know about Fallout. You used to be able to kill pregnant women.
That can be a list video.
Yep.
It's so jarring in Skyrim when you can't kill kids.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, fuck it. Like I've seen a dragon swoop through a village, killing everybody in the town, which fucks up the game because a lot of people that you want to rely on are not considered invulnerable. Yep. And there's like a kid just like walking through town getting scorched by a dragon, and there's like arrows flying and magic going off, and people going, "Oh my god!" And this kid's just sort of like, hey, want to play tag? And you're like, fuck off.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah,
Which is why I love killing kids.
God damn, you guys belong on that island.
Don't take that out of context.
Here's an interesting one. A group opinion on walking simulators.
They're shit.
Boo!
I'm trying to think.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't like walking simulators, but I like visual novels.
The Beginner's Guide. Has anyone played The Beginner's Guide?
I'm going to be right back.
Okay.
Do you have to read in visual novels? Because I can't read anymore. I forgot how to read.
Fair enough.
I got old and forgot how to read.
Fair enough. I think The Beginner's Guide is really good, but every other walking sim I've played is not. And Dear Esther is complete dog shit.
Well, okay, my favorite walking sim is Trespasser.
Yeah, okay.
I love that game. I think Trespasser is one of the finest creations of our time.
See, I saw Speedy's review on that, and I was like, I actually want to play this, which I never thought I'd feel, but
yeah,
it was actually good.
Speedy pieced out. Like I've had this Trespasser review for in the works for a long time, and after seeing his video, I was like, I don't probably need to do that.
Here's the thing. I've started writing a Boiling Point review. So is it a race?
Ooh, no, it's not, because
Okay.
I can only play that game for the first like 20 minutes before I say this is fucking stupid and I stop.
Yeah.
So you're probably gonna get to it before I do, because every time I install it and play it, I'm like, oh, this game is just ass.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
granted, I started writing it 6 months ago and haven't continued, so who knows?
Yes, it's an impenetrable forest of a game, and it's kind of like I love 7.62 High Caliber. It's kind of a similar. I don't know why, but I kind of want to lump those together into like they're games with a huge amount of fascinating mechanics, and then you start playing and you're like, this is some dense bullshit, and then you stop, and you're like, well, maybe I'll just play this game while I watch some Futurama on my other monitor, and then it's sort of like, well, you know what? Let me just watch Futurama, and then it's like, you know what? I'm going to bed.
Back, by the way.
I don't want to do this shit.
Boiling Point overreaches so fucking far. Like, there are games that are too ambitious, and then there's like fucking Boiling Point, which is so far ahead of what it's capable of.
I have like a couple abiding memories of every time I try to play Boiling Point. One of them is like getting into a car and being told you don't know how to drive. I'm like, shit. And number two is just like, I have to get to this town. I don't want to walk 60 miles along the road. I don't know how to fucking drive, so I got to walk. And it's like, well, maybe I'll just cross this little stream. Maybe I'll just swim across this thing so I can get there faster, and then I get eaten by a shark or an eel or a piranha or whatever the hell it is.
But the game is kind of amazing.
I've identified with Boiling Point. I don't know how to drive, and then I get eaten by a fish.
But the game is kind of amazing because you can like pilot helicopters and planes and shit. And like it's all terribly made, but it's like the fact it's running, the fact it's actually existing before Far Cry, before Just Cause, is kind of impressive.
I feel like the design doc is more interesting than the game. The game's
yeah, people describe it in a way that makes it sound like it's the best thing ever, but the game actually isn't. And I think there's a lot of games like that.
I could soldier. Here's a problem though. This is the difference between, in my opinion, Soldiers of Anarchy, which is a really flawed game, and Boiling Point. Soldiers of Anarchy is kind of shitty, but it has a very strong atmosphere. Boiling Point has a very interesting mechanics, but the atmosphere is ruined by the retarded writing and just the goofiness.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Yeah. You play as a French foreign legionnaire, and you can barely function as a human being. Anyway.
I forgot about
I don't like that. I love games, I like RPG mechanics and everything. I don't like any game that treats basic everyday tasks as impossible without specific training.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Actually,
that's my argument about field of view. Sort of like, I should have at least some control over my own character's faculties. Like, unless I'm playing as an invalid, which would be an interesting idea for a walking simulator maybe, but not for a real video game.
Actually, a great gaming moment, I'd say, is in the Operation Flashpoint, the expansion, Resistance. The first mission of the game is you getting your bike, fixing it, putting gas into it, and going to work. And going to work takes like 20 minutes, and you're just driving. That's all that you do for about 20 minutes of the game.
They were trying to do this like Half-Life thing, but they made it too realistic.
Yeah, you have to drive for like literally, you have to drive for about half an hour. Then you crash your bike, it doesn't work anymore. Then you got to walk for about 3 hours. And then you finally get to work, and then the Russians invade, and you have to kill them all. It's fantastic.
No, that sounds like an average day.
Another day at the office, yeah.
It's the best Red Dawn game.
Ukraine Simulator 2017. Anyway.
Here's an interesting question. How do you guys feel about games like The Long Dark, asks Maverick, which I think, for those unaware, Long Dark is a survival game, but it apparently has an actual story and campaign to it, which to me sounds like a great idea because I love survival stuff, but I hate sandbox stuff like Minecraft now.
The Forest has that, and The Forest is a pretty good game. But it's got early access problem. I've played pretty much all the way through The Forest, and by the time they finish it and fix the bugs, I'll be sick of it.
Yeah.
The Long Dark is pretty good, mostly because it has that kind of, like I said, like as someone that goes bushwalks, it's kind of fun like exploring that kind of world. It's kind of ruined because it's $35 fucking dollars, and that's insane.
Super hot syndrome.
Off.
Yep.
Fuck off, Canada.
Our game got featured on Total Biscuit's channel, therefore we can charge $35 fucking dollars for it.
The channel of the guy who freaked out because someone asked if an effeminate man is gay. He's trustworthy.
What the hell?
Well, okay, let's break this down for a minute. Are traps gay?
Yeah, they are. It's men. We're talking about men here.
It's not a hard question.
As someone who is, I have seen people like the reason why many people like to give you an idea. I would sort of say I do not believe they're gay. Mostly because, well, look, here's the thing. As I've explained to my Nepalese co-workers and as I've been told by 4chaners, it's not, there's nothing wrong, something effeminate about dominating other men. There just isn't.
Man, I've been to 4chan, so I've seen some shit.
But, no,
that still takes the cake.
All right,
let's talk about
nothing for this.
Talking about video games. I got a cool
question. A more normal question. Go on.
Yeah, we got a good one from Suboxic saying, do you guys attribute PUBG's success as revolutionary, or is it just the fact that it's the first non-totally broken battle royale game?
Yeah, it's not revolutionary. I think its success is because PUBG came out in the right time where, for one, yeah, it's a non-broken battle royale game, but streamers are at a height right now, and PUBG is perfect for streamers.
Yeah, I'd say the thing that I like about it is, first of all, it took over in a way from DayZ. Like, DayZ obviously is never going to come out, and if it does, it's going to suck ass. So PUBG kind of like stole some of the DayZ thunder. But I think also, yeah, it helps that it's just a fully realized, like they've got a focus, and they're actually achieving their goals. Like, it's a solid game. It's got some pretty good gameplay mechanics, and there's not too much crap shoved into it to the point where they can get this playable version out really early while the hype is still there. And yeah,
I think it's
not like
very iterative.
20 years.
What?
It's very iterative. The concept is strong enough. Like the circle getting smaller is so much fun little idea, as simple as it is, and it's easy to explain to people. You just be like, 100 people drop on an island, one person wins. It's really fun, and everyone's like, "Fuck it, all right, I'll buy it." It's a very
and the scale works too. Like it's a big game that doesn't feel like a hacked together big game.
What about
it's not like Mag.
Whatever happened? Oh yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. Yeah, that was okay. To be fair, what I respect about why I say I respect Sony still is that they at least do something with their IPs. They at least put a bit of effort in them. The last time Microsoft has actually ventured beyond Halo or Gears is like, I don't fucking know, back in 2007 with Cameo. You know, that classic, but that's besides the point. Point is, Mag fucking failed, and everyone who played that game is a fucking bastard. The end.
I'm still holding out for Mag 2, mate. Let's do it.
Oh, gosh.
Did you like their Warhawk revival? Right, they revived Warhawk, which means they probably give it to console generations and revive Mag.
I never played the new Warhawk game. I played the original, though, and I thought it was pretty good. Hard, but good.
It's of its time. It's don't play it now. Keep it as a memory.
Well, I mean, I got it for free, and then I forgot I had it, and I was looking at my PlayStation Network account because I needed something to play on my Vita that I just bought, and I was like, ooh, this game looks neat, I'll play it. So I bait it in like a day, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was interesting proof of concept for 95 to have FMVs and having 3D environments. But
who was the company who made that? Let me see real quick. Is it the guy who did Outward? I think it is.
some sick
This
bastard.
whole time I'm thinking about the PS3 game. I just remembered it's a fucking reboot.
Oh yeah, Warhawk's made by Single Track, which makes sense.
I know.
Single Track's always been really experimental. They did Twisted Metal 1 and 2, and then Outwars, which Outwars had so many neat mechanics and ideas. It just was not super well finished.
Didn't those guys kind of orchestrate like the Khmer Rouge regime?
I don't know.
Never mind. Anyway.
I know they made an Animorphs game. That's something.
Okay, they're terrible now. Okay, so basically, I'm probably gonna ask another question. What do you guys think of VR?
Meme.
Yeah.
Super hot. Hey, shit. Super hot VR is really fun.
This doesn't work with my headphones. I can't see anything. Help.
Okay.
That's just like me.
Like the guy from
Okay. I guess that.
This isn't even real VR. This is cell phone VR.
Awesome.
So
Now-
you hold it up in front of your face, basically, with this piece of plastic and glass, and then you get a headache, and then you get really disoriented because you don't see the real world for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess that kind of answers that question. What about what do you guys think? Oh, actually, no. Probably Roland will have a better idea. What do you think of MechWarrior 5 or the Mech
Oh, okay,
Speedy's
so
got a great rant about this.
Okay, I
Okay,
have
go.
a theory, and I think Roland agrees with me on this. Piranha is reusing assets from MechWarrior Online and making the games as cheap as possible. What they're doing is, so they admitted they're doing procedural generation. There's barely any mech customization, and it's highly possible the game has microtransactions from the way it's structured. What I think Piranha is doing is making a game where they'll take the assets from MechWarrior Online, use the levels or parts of levels, whatever, procedurally generate levels based off of that, take all the mech assets, use those for the mechs, not have to worry about customizing beyond what MechWarrior Online offers. Basically what they're doing is making a randomly generated MechWarrior Online campaign. Well, I mean, Suboxy, they could still reuse assets, is the thing. 3D models are 3D models.
What about
That's the thing that concerns me most is that it's gonna. I'm worried it's gonna turn out kind of like fucking Just Cause 2 or 3 or Far Cry games where they take some really basic repeatable stuff and then they fill a map full of it and say, look how much content there is. You can take over the entire map. And it's like, yeah, but who would ever want to? And I suspect that that's kind of going to be. They're going to take that classic territory map of the Inner Sphere and they're going to be like, well, pick a faction, then take over the entire galaxy or accomplish some specific mission. And it's basically going to just be like the random missions from MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. You're going to pick a planet, you're going to drop down, it's going to be a big flat area with like, here's your spawn, and then over here is objective A, over here is objective B, and over here is the escape. Bing, bing, bing. 1,000 times. Do it 1,000 times. It'll be fun a couple times, but do it 1,000 times and it's not going to be that fun.
What's interesting is at least I want it to be successful because I want mech games to be more prominent in this gaming scene, because I think right now with VR kind of coming in, I could definitely see myself really playing a mech game where you kind of actually get to control, move around the levers, basically Steel Battalion heavy armor, but just not fucking trash. That would be amazing, and that would be great because Steel Battalion is just something I really want to play. But, I don't have a fucking $1 billion to just spurge onto eBay. Still. Oh, wait, what? What? No, did you buy it?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Did you actually play it?
I haven't really played it at all.
What?
It's daunting. It's like, how am I going to buy it? Like, you need to buy special furniture to put the controller on. Like it's a lifestyle. It's kind of like VR is. It's an early version of VR where you sort of have to like dedicate a room to it. Like, this is going to be my VR room.
Yeah.
This is going to be my Steel Battalion room.
Can you hook
I know,
those
one of my dreams was, and this is not feasible anymore, but there was this device called the IO Glasses Virtual IO, something like that, which was a set of 3D glasses that were head tracking capable, and they were compatible with MechWarrior 2. And I was thinking, gosh, you know what? I can get a set of, I can get a keyboard, I can get a joystick, I can get a set of pedals, I can get this special headset thing, and you could pretty easily put together your own mech warrior pod with the head tracking and the virtual reality stuff. And seemed awesome. And I've seen occasionally those virtual IO glasses go up on eBay, and most of them don't come with the head tracking unit. Most of them also don't come with the connection or the computer connection. Most of them are just set up for composite video. So you just jack it into your TV, and then you sit on your couch, being like, "Oh my God, it's right in front of my face!" You know, I mean, it's a total '90s gimmick. But if you could actually get the head tracking one, you know, it would be pretty easy. I've got the fucking Windows 95 computer ready to go. So that'd be a cool project.
Oh wow,
that'd be half of my office would just be my stupid mech warrior pod.
I think one of those things popped up on eBay. It was complete in the box. It was like $60. I wish I would have gotten that now.
Yeah. Well, I very, very nearly bought one that was mostly complete. It was in really good shape and everything, and it looked like it had most of the stuff. And then I was looking closer and realized that there weren't a lot of pictures, and it wasn't actually the computer version. It was just the TV version. I was like, oh shit, almost paid $130 or something for what would have been essentially useless.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question. I want to get to this one first because I think it'd be an interesting topic. Thoughts on Kaku and Vita piracy, or really just Vita hacking? Because the PS Vita got hacked recently with something called Kaku, and it was originally just an exploit that ran in the web browser of all things. And then people got kernel access from there, and that's allowed for piracy, which Sony seems to have gone apeshit over. I think I want to ask in general, what are our thoughts on console hacking? And then what it can lead to, like the corporate repercussions of it, and then the actual benefits of hacking stuff.
I find it really fascinating.
Oh yeah.
Like I hack my consoles, old ones, and I'm fine with doing so. Just because it's really like interesting the shit you can put on it and the shit people have made. As far as like how corporations should be handling this and the effect of it on the industry is a little more gray.
Yeah, well, the thing is, at least in the EU, piracy has like no effect whatsoever. They've rolled it doesn't matter, and it possibly leads to increased consumption of actual like legitimate materials. But I think companies overreact to it, and they're way too scared of piracy, especially on the fucking Vita of all things, where half of the audience is literal weeaboo games that they're gonna buy anyways because they like the brand. Why are they
very surprised that Sony still cares?
Like,
if you pirate games, then you can't have a shelf.
Like, okay, who the fuck is going to actually pirate Senran Kagura Estival Versus? Because the people who want to play that game probably already bought it. Why would
doesn't even sound like a real game?
Oh, it's a real game, all right. But like,
you're asking me that right on the spot.
No, I
collection of symbols.
Like, why would a company like Xseed, if they probably are, why would anyone be afraid of piracy on a platform that nobody cares about? And that's why I find ridiculous about the whole console hacking thing is that like the people who are going to hack their consoles, I don't think they were ever going to buy anything legitimately anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's the argument that Rockstar keeps dodging away from putting Red Dead on PC. And it's totally bullshit. There's got to be some kind of like publisher pressure or something because that doesn't really make any sense.
Publishers are crazy.
I mean, Rockstar's crazy. I don't like them either. But yeah, that can't be their idea. Especially if they were so happy with putting GTA 5, GTA 4. And GTA 4 PC version ended up being a really good PC version after a couple years. So
yeah,
it's clear that they're willing to do it.
I'm sorry to say, but after you're kind of like looking at your videos about GTA, I have to say that GTA 5, I struggle to play it because it's so anti-fun. You do anything in the game, the cops try and kill you. You can't roleplay. You can't actually invest yourself into the world. Moreover, the fucked up Euphoria have tweeted a fair bit. You play Red Dead Redemption, you play GTA 4 now, it still has satisfying gunplay mechanics because of the ragdoll. GTA 5 fucks it up by, I guess, having no kind of real defamation. I don't quite know how to put it, but it's significantly worse than prior games. I have no idea why they did it, but it makes the gameplay a lot worse.
I think they did it because a lot of people kind of had a fun time teasing GTA 4 because of the weird physics, like the stumbling and, the car handling and everything. That was sort of like they were, again, could have been publisher pressure, but it seemed like there was some fear that, like, people are going to make fun of it. It's like people made fun of GTA 4, yeah, but they also bought a shitload of copies of that game, right? Which is a good thing. Yeah. And GTA 5, it seemed like they really stripped down the gameplay a lot just to make it a little more even. Like there wasn't any weird stuff. You know, people weren't going to latch onto something like the car handling and then spaz out about it. Like, oh, it's impossible to drive. And it's like, well, you've been playing for 15 seconds. Give it an hour. It's not going to be impossible to drive anymore. But yeah,
the novelty of GTA 4 for me, aside from how impressive it was at the time, was messing around in the game. And this is me as a 13-year-old, so take no fucking... It's a grain of salt. But by the time 5 came around, I didn't find messing around to be any fun. I don't know why.
I hated 5. I could not get into it for the life of me. It just felt bland.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like it, but I didn't know that was a collective opinion here.
Yeah, it's derivative. Rockstar's getting really derivative at this point, and unfortunately, yeah, they took out the mechanics with true last stability from GTA 4 when they did GTA 5.
Here's a good question from Suboxic. What are our favorite IPs, like game franchise?
I'm a big fan of the 10-dot range. It's pretty useful. It's got the biggest capacity.
Yeah, you're right.
Works equally well in an education or corporate environment.
Actual favorite franchises, though. I
shit,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
So that you asked earlier what franchises I want to come back, and I'm a huge fan of racing games, and I'd like to see Midnight Club and Driver.
I remember Midnight Club was cool.
And Burnout. Burnout needs to come back fucking desperately. Yeah, my favorite IPs alongside those 3. I like Hitman a lot.
Well, yeah, I pretty much have to say when it comes to franchises, I'm always upset that Free Space 3 never happened. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd have to say, yep, a classic, oh yeah, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain. Pretty much the Legacy of Kain franchise.
Oh, I need to get into Legacy of Kain sometime.
It's great.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. Maybe I don't need to play it because I watch your videos and that's enough.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, it's daunting. Same problem with a lot of games where it's like, this is such a big investment of time and effort. And once you see a really good video review on it, it's really easy to say, put that on my low priority list. Rocksix is doing some kind of weird like vaporwave thing about Burnout 3 Takedown.
Burnout 3 Takedown might be the best arcade racing game ever made. I know how smug I sound saying that, but it's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. That game is a great racing game. It's a great gimmick demolition game. Like, it's got everything except the soundtrack.
Don't like it?
I have to also.
I liked that song by Yellow Card, but I was like 14 at the time, so of course I did.
Yeah, right. I saw them a couple of years ago.
I think my favorite franchises. I'm struggling to think of a Western one off the top of my head because there's so few Western franchises I actually keep up with.
Desperados, the Commandos game.
Because every time I want to say I like a Western franchise or IP, I remember it destroyed itself. Like, I was going to say, I love the Halo games. And then then 343 got them.
What are you talking about? They haven't made a Halo game since Reach, right? It's like,
I would actually.
Yeah, that must have been just
the franchise has been dead for 6 years, which is a shame. But hey, it's better than the alternative, right?
Hey, okay. If I can just throw out anything, I'll just go with Japanese games. Probably Ys would be one of my favorite franchises because even if I'm not a fan of some of the more recent games like Sosetta and 8, they're still really well good, really well polished games. It's just they're not really my cup of tea looking at footage of them. And I want to say anything pretty much Senran Kagura and Valkyrie Drive because I like the fact that Xseed actually has the balls to publish them in the US and own up to it because you can give the game shit for basically just being titty games with gameplay added to them, but they're at least fun and they're competent. And I appreciate that Xseed isn't like, oh, yeah, sorry, we're not going to release that because we're scared of everybody criticizing us. It's like, this game's cool. I like the games themselves, but I think I like more of that. Yeah, I think I said all I could say. Basically, they're pretty good games.
I appreciate any time a developer is not afraid of American prudes. So I know that's a problem in our country. These people spatting from Jack Thompsoning game series.
What I was kind of I'm strongly looking forward to is the franchise. It's Japanese, but I'd probably say Shin Megami Tensei is a JRPG franchise, probably the only JRPG franchise I'd actually recommend. Mostly because, as you already guessed, it involves kids getting killed.
All right, let's talk about something that doesn't involve kids getting killed.
Valid point.
I want to, because Suboxik has been asking this, and I feel bad. Are you guys fans of the old Dark Forces games, Dark Forces 2 and Mysteries of the Sith specifically?
Absolutely. I think that Jedi Knight, hang on. Star Wars, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight is one of the best games, just best all-around video games ever made. That game is fucking phenomenal. As opposed, I do like Star Wars, Dark Forces 3, Jedi Knight 2, Academy or
Outcast, I think. Yeah.
One of those long games. They're pretty good, but yeah, it never got better. Almost no game ever made is better than Jedi Knight.
Wow.
I pretty much agree with that. The only time that Star Wars ever got really good again was with introduction of Jar Jar Binks. That was when we really hit the peak. Come on.
No,
like I said, man, the racism went to max degrees. But that's just my
course.
That is true though. Think about it. If you actually look at Star Wars Episode 1, it's a pretty racist movie. You've got a money stringent, big nosed alien flying around in the desert country. You have the couple. All the main characters are basically pure Aryan, and the dumb swamp dwellers have a really thick Ebonics accent.
They gotta get their reparations.
That's basically it. That's basically the entire Jar Jar Binks. And they made him.
Has been rich for so long that he hasn't had to interact with the real world for 40 years. I don't think he understands what he's doing.
He just went to his ranch that he actually has and just saw the black people tending to the horses, and he just said, "Hey, would you want to be in my movie, by the way? Because then we can hit peak minority casting." But anyway, that's my understanding of it. I'm a simple creature. I race pigs.
Here's a good question.
How we got there.
Do you guys have any? Do you guys have any games that have strange stories behind how you acquired them?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Want me to go ahead or?
Yeah, you go ahead first, Salokin, and then I'll go.
Probably. Okay, so. A few years back, I was. Actually, okay, so a few years back when I was a younger lad back in 2010, I was looking for a game for my PS2. Then I saw this weird game with this weird cover and it said Persona 4. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I thought it was some dating sim, some possible doctor thing. I don't fucking know what it was. I thought, okay, I'll pick it up because I'm a lonely a 12-year-old or something. And then I will bring it home and I'll see what I can do with it. I brought it home, and I realized it was this complicated JRPG, murder mystery, thriller, adventure, and I was like, hey, it's pretty good. Now, as you already know, it involves kids getting killed, and that's where the fascinations come.
This is where your lifelong suicidal ideation came from.
Yeah, and it basically kind of just, I just kind of moved on from there, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then, there you go, and the rest is history. Now I'm fucking, I love that scene from... Then I'm End of Ava is my favorite fucking movie ever made. So thank you very much.
We start a conversation at a completely random point, and then killing kids is down here, and then we slowly make our way.
Oh, right there with the kid killing.
Actually, that is a good.
All right, Salokin, see if you ever get invited back. Jesus.
I have a few weird stories of games I acquired. The first is MechWarrior 2 Titanium, where I had really wanted to make the video, so I was like, okay, I'm going to hunt down and buy a copy. So I got a copy that popped up. It was $20 on eBay. And I was like, okay, sure. So I buy it, and 4 days later, the guy hasn't shipped out the game. And then a copy pops up that's complete in box, $20. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay. Part of me has to have that complete in box because it's slightly cheaper. So I pick it up, And I tell the other guy, I'm sorry, I need to cancel the order. And I'm like scared for the rest of the day. And he comes back, he's like, oh, no, man, it's fine. I know. Some sellers make it hard to cancel. I'll help you out. And then I end up getting titanium. And the guy shipped in a Nintendo Wii box. Just the system box for Nintendo Wii. Just stuck a shipping label on there, taped it up, and they...
It's probably a miracle that did not get stolen off your porch.
I know. That was so odd. I've never seen someone ship that in a box before, but I've seen worse. I've seen people ship like rare Philips CDIs in their original boxes that are like impossible to find and not preserved, and they just end up completely destroyed the ship.
I can't trust the post office because I've had them leave a note on my door and make me come down to the post office in business hours, like on my lunch break or something, and sign for a T-shirt. But then sometimes I'll come home and be like, oh, look, there's most of a rifle on my porch. Like, okay. You know, there's like $600 worth of computer parts just sitting there, you know, like, and especially if it's like a computer case or something where they just ship it in the box that shows what's inside, and you're like, oh, yeah, nice computer case, and there's a picture of the nice case on the outside of the box. It's like, that's fine. It's 5 o'clock. I'm out of here. Shit. God damn.
What would be Mini? What's your story?
See, I tried to think of one. The one I do have. At one time, I bought Time Crisis 2 with a gun con off eBay.
Wait, what?
So Time Crisis 2 was released on PS2, and I bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fucking awesome game. And headed over to some dude's house to pick it up, and he threw in a copy of Second Sight on PS2, and now I really like that game as well. So that's my half decent story.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think actually, since I have a Glock, I can replicate the cover of Second Sight, which is like really, you know.
Or of Time Crisis 2, which is just like.
Yep.
Let's see what else is in this chat.
Oh, there was a great question from Maverick. Let me get that one. What is a game engine you guys think should be used more, and another engine that should stop being used? That one's easy for me because the game engine that they need to use more is the actual Euphoria engine with the full ragdoll and everything from GTA 4 and RDR. Because there was nothing quite as fun as like knocking people downstairs in GTA 4, doing hilarious rope shenanigans in RDR. And the fact that they stripped it down for GTA 5 means that somebody else has got to take that engine and run with it, do something fucking cool. And actually, that's a great story because a company, can't remember how the company's name is, they made a football game called Backbreaker using GTA 4's Euphoria engine. And it's not as insane as you hope, but it's still pretty cool. And then as for the game engine that needs to go away, it's Source. It's been Source since 2004. Yeah.
What about... a good question is, here's a question that probably is not so much gaming related, but I think it's still worth bringing up. What is a movie, like maybe somewhat obscure, somewhat different, that you would recommend?
Let me find my anime list.
Fuck. Anyway.
Let me find my anime list.
Fuck.
Oh shit.
Let me think. Man, does anyone have an answer straight off the bat for this?
Yes.
I will in a second.
Right.
Yeah, I've already told Roland, but I don't know if he's watched it yet. Threads.
I think you probably told me. I probably.
Let's see progress. Where's
just look up Threads. Watch Threads. It's the best movie ever made.
Okay.
And you already know the reason why, but it's look.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me increment the kid killing count. I think we're up to 6. There we go.
It takes the kid killing to like the 9th degree. It's like okay, guys. Nuclear war happens. Then 10 years later,
I found my answer.
Look, 10 years. Look, guys, just go right now.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure I watched. That's the Threads is the British version, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I did watch that. I didn't watch the American version, the spinoff.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, no.
What did you think? What did you think of it? Well, it's all right. It's the best movie ever made, man.
Yeah, no, it's British.
I thought End of Ava was the best movie, according to you.
Oh, End of Ava is the best anime. But
okay.
End of Ava is also great because of that opening scene with Shinji in the hospital. That was fantastic.
I was just waiting for the part where a 14-year-old child gets sliced into small pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and count that. I'm incrementing the kid killing count to 7.
Yep. Cool.
Can we just?
Well, you all know that my favorite movie ever is Chappie.
Yeah.
Chappie.
Because Neil Blomkamp is an amazing human being, and Charlton Copley is.
You have to make a
my
rant.
dream.
Don't fucking lie. You can't lie.
No, yeah, I got one in the works because I don't think that's not near me. But yeah, that Jesus Christ, I rewatched them all like a bunch of times in a row and got super mad, so furious.
What, the Blomkamp movies?
Yeah, about Blomkamp's movies, the way that he rips off Blood Diamond constantly, his Disney Channel original movie storytelling chops.
And of course, as you said, they should have a restraining order against Blomkamp for ruining his own movies.
Yeah, with the shaky cam, it's gross.
What a garbage director, anyway.
I think my underrated movie would probably be the Baldios movie, which was because the original anime series was not finished during its original airing, so they're like, okay, let's go make a movie. So they made a movie that's just the entire series recapped and with the proper ending, and it's really, really well done. The animation is 80s. It looks beautiful. The twist near the end of it is fucking amazing, and I never saw it coming, but it makes perfect sense. It's just a really solid movie overall.
Okay. I have unfortunately the only it's like I'm trying to think of a good anime, but it all just leads back to child killing. What the fuck?
That counts as 8.
Okay. I was fine. I was thinking of Monster, but I have to think of something that doesn't involve. Let me think.
Is that Charlize Theron Monster?
I want to think for a second. I have one. The movie that I always recommend to people. The story is always like, oh, you studied Japanese. Oh, did you?
Yeah, you told me about this one.
Did you learn anything? Blah, blah, whatever. So we may have talked about this on our stream, but Radio no Jukan is fucking superb. Welcome back, Mr. McDonald. Great movie. Everybody should watch it.
When it comes to at least the when it comes to what do you call it? End of Ava. Have all of you seen End of Ava?
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No.
Me, you haven't seen End of Ava? Get the fuck off the stream. Go and download and watch all of Evangelion. You'll turn gay for Shinji as well.
No, you won't.
Nobody will ever do that.
Yes, you will. Everyone will.
To quote Futurama, why should I care about a main character when all he does is cry?
Ooh.
Well, do it, man.
All right, so that show. All right, so okay, obviously, right? Slight hypocrisy, but that show and that movie are balls.
Balls
what?
good or
How
balls
can you not
bad?
like End of
Balls
Ava?
bad.
Right.
How are they bad?
If it was good, I think I would have said something like "da balls." I think that's the good version of balls, kind of like the shit.
How are they bad?
How
are they bad?
It's just balls and shit, basically.
How is it bad?
Right, the show isn't artistic; it's poor. Well, that's the story, that they embezzled all the money, so they couldn't afford to make the show, so they were forced to do a whole bunch of artistic wankery and say, "No, it's actually just really highbrow. You probably didn't get it." Just like classic cop-out stuff. And then the movie is, I don't know, the movie's, I guess, a little better, but mainly because they had some money, but not enough money, because the movie's still cheap. But yeah, better.
Man, the death threats.
Money helped.
Threats.
So there was a movie in 2006 called The Matador, starring Pierce Brosnan after he was Bond, and he plays a hitman, and it's a comedy, and it's like sort of the fucked up, sort of like he makes a friend, and it's all about him going from being a hitman to a normal person. It's very standard shit, but it's really funny, and you should watch it. That's what movie.
I'm buying this. Have any of y'all watched A Bridge Too Far?
No.
Just the fuck. Y'all just go home on YouTube, just watch A Bridge Too Far. It's the best war movie ever made.
Instead of going home, here's a good question.
I need to take notes.
What is the dumbest game we've played?
Dumbest.
Tribes Vengeance.
Oops, I just bumped into my own camera with this. Oh shit! Another color.
Tribes Vengeance is the
I'm
dumbest.
so sorry, camera. There we go.
Tribes Vengeance is the dumbest game I've ever played, and I could go on like an hour rant about why the story is legitimately fucking horrible, both as a sequel to the Siege universe and as a standalone story. Oh yeah, Half-Life 2 is one of the dumbest games I've played as well. Thank you.
How many?
Not the
Okay, this is the
dumbest.
other thing about Evangelion that really throws me off is that they started remaking the movies or something. Then remade
Yeah,
a bunch of
Evangelion's
fucking
a dumb
movies.
game as well.
Impossible.
I
to follow
have
that
I
movie.
have Evangelion 2.0 on DVD. I've never watched it. I picked it up for 50 cents, and I was like, this might be worth something, but I think I picked up the wrong movie. It's a remake, I think. I've never watched it. Oh,
Oh.
did Speedy just
Did we
leave?
lose Speedy? Yeah, I think we just dropped Speedy.
Bummer.
Well, anyways, let's try to grab a question while we wait for Speedy to come back to life. Hopefully he didn't die suddenly.
Do you like Kamen Rider or Super Sentai? Neither of those
No.
things register to me. I feel oblivious.
Oh, there we go. My internet killed itself for some reason.
Nice.
Huh.
Well, so Speedy's back.
Yep.
He's on mute, so we just lost him. But or he's just I don't know.
No, I'm here.
It broke new ground.
So Box 6 has asked the question about Telltale. Basically, Telltale's point-and-click-ish, adventure-ish games. That's a genre I'm never going to care about. So it does annoy me that people are super into those.
I very much liked The Walking Dead, like everyone did. But
I don't know. I just don't know with Telltale.
I played through Batman with a couple of friends season 1, and it was pretty dog shit. Like, it was very janky, had like technical issues, like it kept crashing and fucking frame rating out. And the story just wasn't good, and there was all these dodgy detective modes. Yeah, that game's rubbish.
I played a bit of Walking Dead, and my thoughts, and I was like, it's okay. I liked some of the story. I never played much of it. I didn't get very far in it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it just felt very, it felt like a game everyone was overhyping because it was the hot new thing. No one did this before, except everyone did this before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's been a while since I played it. I got to hit it up again. But I remember thinking it was really good.
Let's see. Actually, did we answer the dumbest game question? Because that's an interesting one.
See, I don't know about the dumbest, because the dumbest is probably some, like, fucking hack job Unity asset game. But,
Well,
like...
Okay, let's talk about not, like, hack job Unity games, but games that are stupid in execution. Like, they're competent games, they're just stupid. Like, Tribe Vengeance is a perfect example, because competent game by a competent developer that's ruined because the story is horrible and nobody actually understood what the fundamentals of Tribes was. Because, you know this game where you move really fast and every weapon explodes? Let's have a quarter of the levels be outdoors, and the rest of them are indoors, where you move really slow and everything still explodes, and everyone still dies to only explosive weapons. So you're basically shooting a rocket launcher, and it's like 2 feet away from you.
Is it worth buying the original Tribes?
No, because it's freeware.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Now,
Tribes 2 is freeware as well.
Tribes 2 is
not good.
I'm never able to get Tribes 2 to work, and I really like the game, but yeah, it just doesn't fucking work.
What is
Mafia 3 is really fucking stupid. Like,
oh gosh, Mafia 3.
Back there, I don't know. Cool as shit box. Tribes. I think the Tribes 1 box folds the other way. Which
Oh yeah.
is
Right.
Well, the
really
Star Siege box does as well. If you have the good version.
I really like Minnie's Mafia videos. So you can do one for Mafia 3.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? I made fairly long, in-depth reviews of Mafia 1 and 2. And, I tried to fucking finish Mafia 3. I tried my heart out. That game is so shit.
That's one of those games where there's way more content than the actual quality and gameplay of the game.
Mafia 3 seems like it wants to be deep by talking about stuff like racism without realizing that you have to have competence to be deep.
Yeah, well, it's not just that too. I do admit it is kind of a bit odd that a Czech company made Viet Cong, Mafia 2 and 3, all completely polar opposite European-centric games. It just feels a bit strange.
They feel like,
I mean,
well, Mafia 1's kind of like an interpretation of Americana rather than Americana.
It's also got really good details.
It does.
It's hard to play because it's like it doesn't play very well. At least I struggle to play it. But I do respect it, the fact that you drive a 40k car and it's basically a pile of garbage.
Not for everyone.
I mean, Okay, well, when it comes to Mafia 3, the only thing I do like about it is the large amount of violence is pretty good. It's basically, you know, it has a nice soundtrack. Otherwise, anyone that made that game can burn in hell.
The soundtrack's amazing. But yeah, what they did so they have these side missions, which are like fairly standard side missions where you like, you know, there's objectives and there's a little story, but those aren't compulsory. The compulsory things are just going around to different buildings and killing people and picking up shit until you unlock a main mission, and you have to do every single one. So the problem is, yeah, go on.
No, go on, man.
I don't know. The problem is the pacing completely breaks about 4 hours in because they introduce this structure to you that's like, okay, go through each section of the map. This is like that Just Cause 2 shit. Like, go through each section of the map and just make it your territory. And it pretty much spells out to you. It's like, this game's going to take 30 hours of dog shit. And at that point, you're like, well, I don't want to fucking play it. So
that sounds like the opposite problem of like Shadow of Mordor, which I pretty much like that game. But I always felt like the story missions are kind of a hindrance, and maybe they should have structured the game more like Crackdown, because they had that really strong sort of dynamic, emergent gameplay / emergent story thing with the different like orc lieutenants. I think they could have just sort of put that whole thing together, kind of like Crackdown, and said like, go forth and conquer. And instead, I always felt like, you know, oh great, I'm out of fun stuff to do now. I have to go play a shitty story mission.
What's weird about it though? Looking at Mafia 3, it really does look like a shittier version of Scarface.
I need to play that Scarface game.
I like that game.
It's really good. It's really good. I highly recommend it. The problem is, though, is getting the PC version to run properly.
Well, good thing I have a soft-modded Xbox.
Go get it, man. It's fantastic. It's basically, it's really campy, but it's very entertaining because it's like, if you watch the movie, where the movie's kind of like this dark, psychotic kind of depth, like, you know, going into detail, this kind of psychopath, the game is basically like, nah, you basically can buy your best friend's ashes or your sister's ashes, or you can fucking buy a tank and just pick up cocaine and stuff and kill Haitians. It's great. Like
they took all the surreal sort of like bombastic moments and put those into the game and ignored the point of Scarface, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's pretty damn. Overall, though, I highly recommend it. I'm trying to do a there aren't many games like it, I guess. I'd say Crackdown is also pretty awesome. It's similar kind of vein. We beat like mission objectives across a map. It's very samey, but there's actually character growth. There's player growth through leveling up your character, and the world itself is very open. That's pretty neat. Otherwise, the only other game that I can think of that is as good as y'all will talk about it, that'd be the new Bubsy game coming in. That looks fucking awesome.
No. Does that have child killing in it? Because otherwise, I'm not in.
Well,
oh, there's another one for the kid killer counter.
Now, so far,
9.
Speaking of game development, Maverick asks, I'm trying to get through these questions in order. If you guys could develop a game with the best developers or whatever in a company and an infinite budget, what kind of game would it be?
Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction, Vietnam Edition.
I like it.
Yes.
I play it.
That is pretty much spot on.
You know what? I would agree with that. I think I like that.
Mercenaries 1 is fantastic. Mercenaries 2.
1. There's only one Mercenaries game.
No. It's Mercenaries 2. War in Flames is like kind of bad. It's kind of weird.
No such thing as a Mercenaries 2.
I don't mind Mercs 2, but it's pretty average. It's not offensive to me.
I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
But Mercenaries 2, man. There's Mercenaries 2.
Yeah, 2009 EA.
Yeah, if they did make one, it probably would have sucked, so they shouldn't have made one. And luckily for us, they didn't.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard about Mercenaries 2 does exist. It actually is kind of funny playing it
well,
now.
it's about time for us to go. Thanks for tuning in.
What?
Why are you trying to ruin my life?
We got 25 more minutes left. We can ask more. We can answer more questions.
Sorry, as long as the question about Mercenaries 2.
Mercenaries 2 is kind of interesting to play. because there is actually a handful of games I know of that actually does predict the future. Mercenaries 2 is now one of them because it's where you're playing in a failed state of Venezuela where you're fighting alongside different mercenaries. It's amazing.
Did you remember that Venezuela got really annoyed that it existed?
Remember when
This game is
Venezuelan
flat out false.
they told everyone to eat the rabbits because they were good food sources, and everyone started befriending the local rabbits instead. And it was like,
What are we talking about?
Venezuela, but in Venezuela, they're like, okay, eat the rabbits. They're a good food source. Guys, we're having a food and water crisis. We need everyone to eat the rabbits because they're a good food source. Everyone started befriending the rabbits, and they're like, no, you're supposed to eat the rabbits.
I love Venezuela, man.
I gotta read off on this one.
It's basically, but Venezuela is that that is actually one thing that really frustrates me is that why
You
isn't
kill
there-
children in Venezuela?
Take
Not
it
just
back.
that. Why isn't it that we can't have a video game, like what kind of major publisher produce a video game like a what if scenario where NATO and Russia fight each other? Like, what's wrong with that? It's extremely relevant now. The only game I can think about that does it is like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, but fuck that game.
World of Conflict, World in Conflict, I can't remember what it actually
World
is.
Conflict is fantastic, but man, they could expand it so much more. They'd even make a sequel to that game. That game's fucking awesome. Like, come on, man, you could actually play it. Imagine a game now where you actually, that does bring up another point. Ghost Recon actually predicted the future by like 20 years.
Oh, geez.
Well, yeah, it's like that was a big thing in the early 2000s was North Korea shit, like Ghost Recon 2.
Oh no! Oh, sorry.
Mercenaries.
No, the original Ghost Recon is set in 2008, where Russia invades Georgia, and in 2008, Russia does invade Georgia. It happens, and dozens of people died. And they talk about how eventually the nationalist president has to be taken down by a combined NATO and U.S. invasion. So I'm just getting ready for that. I'm psyched. Anyway.
Does art
That was
imitate
Ghost Recon
history?
1?
Or does
Oh, I'm
history
thinking of
imitate
Desert
art?
Strike, which is about
Yes.
a country that I swear to God I didn't think existed in Africa.
When does Advanced
no.
Warfighter happen?
Never.
2011.
God willing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Already passed.
What's that one? What's that one? Mexico gets nuked?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was it.
yeah.
Shit.
What a great game.
Suboxic, thoughts on the Assassin's Creed series Free and Low?
Hang on a sec, sorry. But if Mexico was nuked, a lot of children would die. So that's 10.
10?
That's
10?
yeah. Throw it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Then just
What was the question?
Just call us the child killing stream. Anyway,
Yeah.
get some good views.
Thoughts on Assassin's Creed Free and Lower is something Suboxic asked. I never played Assassin's
Fuck 'em
Creed.
all.
Yeah, fuck all.
Assassin's Creed. I actually like the Assassin's Creed games because the time period they're set in. The problem is they're bloated with just the worst story elements and just the worst everything in a game. It's just like a collectathon with no actual meaning or point, and it's unplayable. It's unplayable garbage. Assassin's Creed 3, I want to love it. I want to love Assassin's Creed 3 because you run around Boston just killing and murdering people. That's fucking awesome. But you can't because, oh no, we have a 4-hour intro stage and then you have to play the game for another 4 hours before it actually opens up.
Yeah, it's too slow.
Overall, yeah.
It's too slow,
absolutely.
and in the bits that are meant to be exciting, it's too easy.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Oh, go on.
Big Pinocha asks, do you guys think hero shooters will be the future of FPS gaming? No!
They were 4 years ago. Everybody is just 4 years late. It's too late. Over. It's PUBG games right now. And by the time a whole shitload of PUBG clones come out in 4 years, that's going to be dead as a doornail too.
Why does Examined hate Mercenaries 2 so much?
What? How can I hate a game that was never made? I don't get it. If they'd made a Mercenaries 2, I would have played it with an open mind, but they didn't, so I can't. Obviously.
What's a game with the absolute worst fan base? There's a lot of answers for that.
Like League and Dota, right?
Yeah, I think MOBA games would be the worst.
Yeah.
Insurgency.
I never.
Many people say Undertale's the worst fan base. I disagree because they make
Well, of course you
fantastic
do, because you
porn.
fucking love Undertale stuff. Salokin, go away.
No, I know because they make fantastic porn. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, of
I'd
course.
probably have to go for maybe Minecraft. Maybe Minecraft.
Minecraft's mostly just harmless kids from what
Yes,
I've
they're
seen.
like 8 years old. Why?
Yeah,
What do you have against children?
Yeah. What do you have against
Can we just call
children?
it 10.5? Can we call it 10.5? Yeah, 10.5. Anyway.
We're up to 11. You missed one. One snuck by while you were ranting about murdering people in the streets.
Let's see.
Well, there was actually, to continue very briefly, the idea about the you're talking about the Cold War gone hot concept. I would like to see a lot of games go with more of a kind of a up to date, like an in the minute sort of thing. Because I'm thinking of games like, I think it was called Yuma War, something like that. There was a game that came out during the Iraq War about the Iraq War, and it was episodic, and it was a really cool fucking idea. And then there was that game 6 Days in Fallujah, which was going to come out, and as far as I can tell, that just got killed for political reasons. And
yeah,
I see, you know, like if you're gonna be okay with, you know, like the documentary Restrepo, great documentary that came out a couple years after the events.
Yeah, is Restrepo good? Is Restrepo
fantastic? Yeah, Restrepo's
I want
an
to buy
amazing
it right
documentary.
now.
So Restrepo, if Restrepo's okay, like let's have the video game version of Restrepo, because people are still stuck in this idea of video games all glorify violence. You can't portray violence in a video game without glorifying it. I mean, if you're being honest, you can't portray war without glorifying war, because war is fucking cool.
Pretty much.
There's just no way around it.
How do you spell the doco? Actually, what is a couple of good war movie documentaries you'd recommend?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't like anything that's super dry. So Restrepo is a really good one. I'd have to come up with something else.
Restrepo. That looks neat.
That was really good. And they made a follow-up to it, which was, I think, released after one of the creators of Restrepo died in a mortar attack somewhere.
Oh, what? The fuck? They died? Wait, they died?
Yeah, of the two guys, the two main guys who went to Afghanistan to film that, one of them got killed in a mortar attack.
He was
in Libya or something like that.
Tim Heverington, fucking British people. He was killed by shrapnel from either a mortar shell or RPG fired by Libyan forces while covering the 2011 Libyan civil war. Jeez.
What a badass.
That sucks.
Yep.
That's what a shit way to go. And it's like, well, I mean, that's kind of like hey, at the end of the day, you made some good films. Hey, you could have. You don't want to be that director that got killed after he made 120 Days of Sodom. Anyway, that was fun.
What does everyone think about Dying Light and Techland?
My brother likes it.
You coming out? That's all I think about it.
He gets sued by Crysis or Crytek.
Anyway,
yep. But you guys can tell me, like, what other good war movies are there you recommend?
Fury, Black Hawk Down, Saving Private Ryan's okay.
Have you watched Generation Kill?
Yep, Generation Kill's good.
What about what's a good Eastern Front? What's a good Eastern Front war movie? Like, what's a good foreign war movie?
Eastern Front is dumb.
What? Well, okay, but what's a good, foreign war movie?
People from other countries aren't good at making war movies.
The closest I can think of to a war movie was
there's one
anime that was directed that was about a guy's experience being a survivor, I think, of the Hiroshima nuke, which was incredibly graphic. I need to find it real quick.
There was a Netflix original movie that just came out not too long ago that was about... It was starring the guy from... I can't come up with the name of it off the top of my head. It was starring the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, and it was about British or Irish troops in...
Yep. Yeah, Siege of Shadowville.
That's
a cool movie. Actually, that was a good one. But now I can now crank it up to 12 now, because they also made another good movie, which was Children Monsters, Beasts of No Nation, and that was child soldiers, and children did get killed in that. That was pretty good. That was pretty good because I like the Far Cry. I like Far Cry 2. They amp it up a bit because they have a bit of child rape molestation, and I only know of another anime.
We're going from 12 straight to 16 for that.
Oh my god.
The only that's the thing is, like, it's pretty fucked up. But the only other work that actually portrays that kind of aspect of war, like the whole psychological rape aspect, is Here and Now, Then and There. That's a good anime, well worth it for the kids. Because, like, the main characters all get sexually assaulted at least 4 times.
Holy shit, Sequa.
Just Nicholas, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
We are all going to jail.
Hey, really.
What did y'all think of Hacksaw Ridge?
Oh, it's great.
I haven't seen that yet, but that looks,
I like it. It's good.
Oh, no, Hacksaw Ridge was pretty good, but I'd say the Pacific was a more fair... Actually, because Hacksaw Ridge was filmed where I live. So it was kind of cool. And I do admit the Pacific TV series was a more accurate recreation of the Pacific War. Especially since, God fucking damn it, yeah, because again, this is another show that babies get killed in. Anyway, it's sad. It happens. Well, anyway, the point is that Hacksaw Ridge is pretty good. Lack of babies get killed. That's a bit disappointing.
18 at 18.
That's probably 20 at this point. Anyway, so yeah, I'd probably wrap it up by saying that Threads is a better movie because it has failed childbirth. Now, that's the end of the movie.
19.
That's the best part about it. Radiation's a bitch in the future. Anyway,
okay, Bruno. I don't know how to read this guy's name. Who here likes Ace Combat?
I love Ace Combat, man. I've done a few reviews about it. It's fucking amazing. It's so
I
good.
have 4, and I really need to play through it. And I played the multiplayer of the PSP game, and that was fun.
Shattered Skies is fantastic. It has a really good story. It has a fantastic soundtrack, and it has just amazing gameplay. It is probably one of the... It really deserves a remake or something for the PC or something. It's just so good. It's so good.
Ooh. Speaking of Ace Combat, what does everyone think about the latest game, asked by Maverick? Ace Combat, the new... Is it 7, I think? Ace Combat 7 looks great. You could even say it looks... Ace.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and implement the count for that.
Yeah.
Are there any children in the audience that Coke probably killed?
The graphics on it and just it looks so well made. It looks like it has such a high production value. I want to play it.
I really want to play some Ace Combat games, and I just have never gotten around to it.
Me too.
Ace Combat, just both of you sit down and just play the Ace Combat 4 on the PS2.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's fantastic. Great detail, great character. It's just a really good game. And anyway, I bought it with Strepo. This better be good. If it's not, I'm gonna hunt you down. Anyway. Other than that,
Who buys movies?
Plebs like me, obviously.
Yeah.
You gotta understand. I live in
Obviously,
Australia.
this is a no true Australian argument, man. Only a real Australian would steal a movie.
But no, seriously. When do we get to discuss? At this point, do we get to talk about the ethno state, or is that just we're not going to talk about that?
So, well, we're scheduled to go. I mean, whatever. We're scheduled to go until 9 o'clock. So, you guys want to go longer? We can, or we can try to wrap it up with some chat questions or something.
We'll
else.
try to wrap it up by 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, if everyone, I'm just going to leave it out. They're going to leave that hanging. If we're going to talk about the ethno state, just saying, guys.
Right.
We'll leave it hanging, I think.
Yeah. We'll talk about that some other time.
Ever played Freedom Fighters?
Yeah, it's a great game.
I have a copy of it. I need to play it.
Freedom Fighters is great. I like it a lot.
Oh no, it's
Has a really clear sense of progression because it's like a squad game, and you keep getting you start up and you can have one dude follow you around, and it keeps going up one by one, and you're like, when is this going to stop? And by the end of the game, you have 12 dudes following you around. And it's
a pretty neat. It's a pretty neat game as well because it's basically like New York gets invaded by Russians, obviously, and you just have to fight them back. It's just it's a good game, and it's also it's like Red Dawn.
Yeah, it's very cohesive. It knows what it wants to be.
It's actually
question here from Flippant Solutions. How do we solve the 343-ish problem? 343 Studios does need to die. I have a solution. Nobody buys Halo 6. Which will be really sad. It'll be embarrassing. It'll be creepy to see that game come out and nobody buy it. But then it will die with dignity, or whatever dignity is left in the Halo franchise at this point. Which hasn't been good for a really long time.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know what there is to solve. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Like, make a good game. It's. I felt like
because they're trying to take Halo, and Halo's got such a unique style of combat that no one's ever been able to replicate. And they're adding like sprint, they're adding iron sights, they're kind of turning it into more of a modern warfare, and they're never going to be as modern warfare as modern warfare. So they need to stop trying.
It's weird that they're ruining the Halo identity in a way that they shouldn't be, because people already have Call of Duty. They know what it is. They don't want to play another one.
And the stories of 343's games are just the worst fan fiction garbage.
You know, before we move on to another question, I just want to say, Maverick, what if Halo 6 is the best Halo ever made and fixes all the flaws? That's impossible because 343 is working on it. It's never going to happen.
With Halo now, it's kind of frustrating because Halo 3 was really a very solid trilogy. It didn't leave many threads hanging, because I think when it comes to fiction writing, it's important to leave some things up for interpretation, because that means there's mystery, there's a bit of ambiguity, and that means there's actually there's room for future expansion. Halo 3 does that really well, in my opinion, because you have the Forerunners mystery, and you have this kind of thing. There's like a lot of stuff is going on in the background, but you clearly are never going to know the details. And then they just say, because at the end, it kind of hints there's a connection between Halo 3 and Marathon 2, like slightly, but at the same time, it opens up for like some future expansion. But they don't. They just go, fuck it, let's just make Halo 4 continues directly on. There's no mystery, there's no build up, there's nothing. And it's basically just cancer. They ruined everything good about the series. The gameplay is terrible, the level design is terrible, it's exhausting. Basically, it's just complete shit. Halo Reach was fantastic, in my opinion, but
yes, I'm gonna agree with that. Big Pinocha says Halo Reach was fantastic as well. And, yeah, I have to agree with that as well.
Because honestly, if you really look at it like this, Halo Reach should have been really the end point of the series. The franchise had come full circle. It went into a nice amount of detail, and it kind of fixed most of the issues. And Halo Reach was just a solid send-off, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was Reach was perfect for that.
And really, that's what the franchise should have become. After Halo 3, they should have been doing, some Halo Reach, some Halo Wars, that kind of thing. Maybe they could have done like some fucking ODST squad-based shooter or something like that.
Oh, better yet, just simply speed up time by 500 years and set it way into the future, and then continue on the story if you really want to. Don't just leave characters like Master Chief and fucking Cryo sleep forever. They're done.
I think big video game franchises are a lot like successful TV shows, where there's so much obvious money in it that they all go on way longer than they really need to go on, and then forced to have a really sad, awful, it limps across the finish line after 9 seasons, where it's like, well, the last 3 seasons weren't any good. Let's just rush out a finale because we're taking this off the air. And so it's like you could have had a couple really good games and a really satisfying ending, and been like, that's it. That was Halo. I hope you liked Halo. That's the end of Halo. See you guys on our next franchise, Destiny. We're actually going to try instead of half-assing it. This is like this fantasy universe that I live in.
It is kind of strange, though. Why is it that developers or publishers can't move on from a franchise?
Because it makes money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, that's true, but why is it? Because that's one of the weird things, because, playing through kind of play older games, is that you play games from the 2000s or the late 90s. A lot of them are kind of very new and original IPs. I cannot see something like Soul Reaver being developed by the same people that made Tomb Raider. I see them making Tomb Raider forever. Say what you will about Arcane Studios and their games being not very polished, they at least try something different with each game.
Yeah, it's commendable.
Yeah.
There's I really like it when games do actually wrap up, and it annoys me when they then go on to make sequels. Max Payne 1 and 2 wrap up really nicely. And then there's a third Max Payne, and you're like, what are we still doing here?
I lost my segue, damn it. Speaking of games that keep getting sequels, Metal Gear Fox asked, any of you like Monster Hunter? And to that I have to say, Monster Hunter seems cool, but at the same time, it's like every game is exactly the same, and I don't even know where to start with it.
Kind of looks that way. My buddy Code Knight's really into those, and he's always trying to make me play him, and I play him for like 5 minutes.
I feel like everyone has a buddy. Everyone has a buddy who's really into it and is telling them to play it, and no one plays it.
There's a lot of Monster Hunter pushers out there.
And
the actual game looks pretty. The games look really. I like the look of the game, but I mean, at the same time, it's very daunting to get into. I like. Oh, yeah. And at the same time, does it have enough weeb shit to keep me going? That's a good question.
Suboxic has a really good question that we could probably end on. As closing thoughts, I was really curious about your guys' opinion on Gold Source and Source mods that became full cell games. This applies to other engines. So basically, thoughts on mods that became retail games.
That's fine.
And
I think it's a great thing.
Some of them are really good, and some of them aren't very good. Gunman Chronicles is fucking amazing and basically on par with Half-Life 1, in my opinion. That one was superb.
It's really kind of strange playing through a game like I want to enjoy games like what do you call it? I want to enjoy. I want to. I guess I have to kind of be honest with Roland that I do like Half-Life 2. Like it's still pretty. I still enjoy it. I still want to play it occasionally.
Well, yeah, it's not a bad game.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well,
There's
maybe.
Well, where's that bastard Roland? Where now, Roland? Another question though. Where the fuck is the next video?
Eventually, that's the only answer I can ever give. But yeah, to answer that question, I think that what's interesting to me right now is to look at Rising Storm 2 Vietnam and just think like that came from, Red Orchestra.
That was an Unreal 2 mod, wasn't it? I don't remember.
Yeah, Unreal something. Can't remember what.
Yeah, I thought it was Tournament
It's
2004.
like, who would have ever thought playing that mod, as good as it was, then there would be, a game as completely standalone as Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. It's like, that's cool. That's a success story. I'd like to see more of that in gaming and a lot less of what we actually see in gaming.
Actually, yeah, speaking of Red Orchestra, that was by Tripwire, I believe. Yeah, Red Orchestra and Rising Storm. That's by Tripwire, who did Killing Floor, which was also another mod to retail game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like if you don't have a big enough team and you don't have enough money to make your own game, if you can succeed out of a mod, that's pretty amazing. Counter-Strike.
1.6 is okay. Source looks nice.
See, I was born into 1.6. I grew up with Source. I now play Go. It's fucking great series.
Go.
Okay, 1.6 is probably the best, and I'm probably one of those purist people, but Go's convenient. Everyone plays it. Matchmaking's good.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, I really like Counter-Strike, and I mentioned this very briefly in the Black video, and I'll probably never really get into detail in its own video, but Counter-Strike's gunplay and sort of the way that they handled weapons and movement, it's kind of easily overlooked. A lot of people will try to copy that sort of style of game without understanding that there's just sort of things about like the way that the fluidity of movement and the firing rate of weapons, like it's very much under your control. There's not a lot of restrictions about like how fast you can shoot. Like you can shoot really fast and inaccurately if you want to, and that kind of thing gives it this real like organic feel where people have a lot of control over their individual actions, and that creates so much of the depth of the game.
Go doesn't have that individual control last time I played it. It just... Here's the problem with Go. If you look up Counter-Strike Go, you will see tutorial videos on how exactly to play it and how to get good, and I think that's its biggest issue. Go basically forces you to play in a very specific and tedious manner. You have to stop every time you shoot. You got to do your tap shots. You can only buy certain weapons. Only certain weapons are good. You have to do certain things before entering rooms. It's so fucking scripted.
No, I disagree completely.
I agree with myself because I'm correct.
Well, I mean, the thing that I think is kind of worth pointing out is any multiplayer game that is essentially solved can become extremely hostile and repetitive to somebody who's not super invested in it. Sort of like, like any MMO or any MOBA game, a lot of these competitive shooters like Insurgency, like Counter-Strike, where there is one way to do it. Every single match is like, hey, your role is to get into this exact spot, point in this exact direction. And I was like anytime I would try matchmaking in like Payday 2, and I like playing Payday 2 casually with friends, but I tried playing
Payday 2 matchmaking
Payday 2. Exactly.
Disgusting.
And like you get into a match and it's like 21 seconds in, a guy's like, what the fuck? And you're like, what? And he's like, you were supposed to pop ECM at 20 seconds exactly. You didn't, and now we're fucked. And you're like, oh shit. Like I didn't know, this was the exact way. Everybody has to play exactly the same way every time.
That stuff burns me up.
Money. And that's Insurgency in Counter-Strike. It's like, well, the place to be. You go to this spot with this weapon. You look in this direction. Like it's super, people, if you don't know how to do it, people hate you. If you don't know how to do it, I'm not sure how you're having any fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you start one of those games, it's a fucking brick wall and everyone hates you. But once you're at the level where everything's good and strategic decisions start coming in, and at that point, everything's fun.
The problem is no one helps you get to that point.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, I grew up like... yeah, go on.
With kind of like higher end, the problem with a lot of games, like the reason why I can't get into a lot of multiplayer games like Counter-Strike is simply because the skill ceiling is often too high and it's kind of dominated by extremely advanced players. Like, for example, MechWarrior Online is kind of unplayable because you're pitting people who have basically just started with their mechs against people who have a fucking direwolf. And you can't win. It's just not possible. At least not for new players unless you're lucky and you've got a good team. anyway, basically my point is fucking it's gay, faking gay. It's faking gay.
Good
Agreed.
analysis.
And on that note, I think it's 9 o'clock. It's probably about time that we wrap this thing up. Salokin, why don't you give us one more heinous, horrible child killing joke to end on?
Wait, I can do it.
Ready? You got one ready?
Hold on.
we had
okay.
so many on a whim.
All right, I thought he would have one ready. I didn't know he
All right, no, I got it.
Okay.
Chris Benoit. Benoit?
Benoit.
Yeah,
Yeah, Benoit. Yeah. He's my husbando.
Cool.
Language.
That's 21.
Good for you.
Actually, no, that would be
Good
about
for
24.
you.
Anyway.
TBIs are serious business, kids. If you think you've had a concussion, don't wait. Talk to your doctor today.
Good times. Overall,
I gotta say,
yeah.
thanks for doing this, guys. This was really
this was
fucking
fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
I hope I didn't come across as off or anything. Hope I didn't dominate conversation too much or anything.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, you're good. It was fun.
Yeah, now it's good to have somebody to kind of proctor it a little bit. So yeah, we should try to put something like this again later. And to everybody who joined us in the chat, thanks for submitting questions and arguing. I think about 4chan a whole lot.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, in the description of this video, there's links to all these guys' channels, and they're all awesome. Pretty much every video that they do is worth watching. So go check them all out. And
Thank you very much.
We will see all of you guys some other time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good one.
That was fun.